What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wave of the World podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Jacob Bodega. My podcast serves as entertainment as well as worldly insight into the lives of everyday people and news, that tells a story, creates a narrative. We discuss various topics ranging from, current news to personal one-on-one interviews. Everybody has a story, and I'm ready to hear yours. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with me in another edition of the Wave of the World podcast. This has been difficult. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be 100% transparent with y'all. Y'all might not have gotten an episode this month, but I am staying true to what I said. I'm going to, at minimum, finish out the year. I have some other things that I'm working on that I'm trying to do so I can do this full time, and I can also bring on new guests that are interesting for you all as well. And I feel like the best way to do that and divert my attention from solely doing the podcast is getting involved in other things like, real estate and investing and seeing who I can meet and eventually bring on to an episode to discuss what they do. So with that being said, let's jump right into today's topic. So the day that I'm recording this is the 20th of October. The Patreon people who subscribe to Patreon, they get the episodes a day early, or they get it earlier. They get it the day that I record it. I upload it immediately for them. But the day that I'm recording, Bitcoin has jumped to $66,000 with the news that an ETF, which just stands for exchange traded fund right there, or Bitcoin futures. So what futures are a commodity. So corn, oil, water, soil, steel, wood, those are what are considered commodities. I am not an expert on trading or investing or crypto. I'm not giving any advice. All the lawyer sayings that you have to say so you don't get sued. But yeah, Bitcoin jumped to 66,000, and a lot of the other cryptos followed suit. If you're into investing like I am, this is super big news because the way ETFs work is they basically ride the whole market. So let's say an example of an ETF is the S&P 500, which their ticker symbol for their ETF is SPY. So the S&P 500 is 500 of the top companies in the world. And companies like Nike, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, some of those type of companies, a lot of the ones that you probably know but don't invest in, are probably in the S&P 500. It would similarly work with crypto. So crypto will have an ETF that's based on the most popular coins and the coins that will in the future become our currency. I don't doubt that at some point we will be using crypto as a form of payment. Hell, it's already been used as a form of payment. It's a decentralized form of payment. And I think they're trying to find ways to centralize it without a physical bank, which I think an ETF is a great opportunity. You've already seen what it's done to Bitcoin. It's hit a record high. We love a record high. And I think it can only go up from here. I think it has chances to reach where Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, is. But that's just me personally. You can take my advice. It's not even really advice. It's not investing advice. I want you to go out and do your own research. But yeah, Bitcoin, shout out to you, 66K. Something else that I also want to present to y'all that I thought were super dope. I actually watched it a couple weeks ago. It's on Netflix. Um, Netflix has been putting out some heavy hitters lately. So the one that I want to talk to you about is actually Inspiration 4. And Inspiration 4, it was a company created um, by this guy who used to be a pilot. His name is Jarek Isaacman. He used to be a pilot. Um, he used to fly private chartered jets and all that stuff. So he partnered with St. Jude Children's Hospital, which I never saw any of the publicity for this, but it was going on in September, so last month. Um, they ended up taking a trip to outer space for 3 days, and I believe they went just outside of and when I say just outside, it's like a couple thousand miles outside of where the International Space Station's orbit is, which that already is like 20,000 miles. Um, but yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty inspiring. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you go do. Um, I've watched a lot of interviews with Elon, who his company SpaceX, they partnered with Inspiration 4 because they went up in a spaceship called the Dragon, the SpaceX Dragon. And it's literally like the little tip of the rocket ship that takes off before or once they get into a certain orbit. That's the pod that they actually stay in. And the reason that they partnered with the with SpaceX is because the SpaceX company is trying to further the goal of interplanetary life. Like I said, I watch a lot of videos with Elon. I like what he does. I also think he's hilarious. If you follow him on Twitter, uh, one of the memes he posted was a piece of paper that said it had written situation, and he put it underneath the control button on the keyboard because the situation's under control. And you know what? I enjoy that type of humor, and you don't really see a lot of billionaires or people that sit as CEOs of companies have like a sense of humor like that, and I enjoy it. And I also really like what he's done with Tesla. I've told y'all plenty of times to go invest in Tesla, but that's not my advice. That's just what I do, and past performance doesn't always mean that future results are going to happen. But what do I know? Back to SpaceX. I think it was a super good or a super dope concept to have a couple of normal people, because these people weren't like athletes or like triathlons. One of the ladies who actually got to go was a communication specialist, and she flew planes, so that kind of just worked out. One of them, Haley Arsenal, she was a physician's assistant for St. Jude, and she had a metal rod put into her leg because she ended up having a certain form of bone cancer in her knee. So, like I said, these are just normal people. Chris was a data engineer. Cyan was a geoscientist and a science communication specialist. So that's the extreme, but yeah, I'm super dope. I'm interested to know if y'all would hop on a jet or hop on a rocket in this case and see what interplanetary life would look like. Shoot me a DM at Wave of the World Podcast. Y'all see the pop tags whenever I be putting them in there. Yeah, just I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What I'm also curious about are the thoughts on Squid Game. So Squid Game has taken Netflix by storm. So Squid Game, broke the record for most views in like a week or two for a Netflix show. So the show, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't watched it already, because it is fairly new, and I personally don't like whenever people spoil things for me. I like to find out on my own. So Squid Game, the premise of the show is that a bunch of these people are in debt, but they can play these games to potentially win money if they make it to the end. And they have the shot of either winning the games or losing their life. So is money that important to you to where you're willing to bet your life on it? And how bad are you in debt that you have to play some games while risking your life to win some money? You can see right there, Netflix gained 4.4 million subscribers, and only 70,000 of them came from U.S. and Canada. That means over 4 million subscribers outside of North America. That is ridiculous. But Squid Games, what it did do, didn't really have any marketing other than, what they normally do whenever they have a new Netflix show is that they, plaster it all over the front page. Like, hey, this is what we're working on. You kind of saw the same thing with Umbrella Academy, but Umbrella Academy, I felt like it was too long. It was hard to keep up with. Similar to the Netflix originals like, Orange is the New Black, On My Block, Dear White People, couple of others. But I thought it was a super interesting experiment. I'm also interested to know if how bad you in debt you are. And what would be your Squid Game that you would come up with that other people would have to play? So mine personally would be finding lost AirPods. If you could find your lost AirPods within a certain period of time, like they put you in a room with these AirPods, and you had to spend like a week in the room, or forget a week. You had to spend 3 days in the room, and the room was just full of random stuff. How soon would you lose? This is my game. How soon would you lose your AirPods or your Beats or whatever, your wireless headphones? Let's put it that way. And 2, once you lose them, how fast could you find them? Either that or like you come into the room with them, somebody takes them and hides it from you. So it's kind of like a needle in a haystack type of game. So how fast could you find whatever it is that you lost, or else you die? But I'm interested to know what your Squid Game is. I think it's kind of interesting the childlike aspect that they put on a very violent showing. And I personally think the dopest thing about Squid Games is the director. Already has a sequel in talks. It released on September 17th, entered at top 10 2 days later, and then number 2 on the 20th, and number 1 by its 4th day. I read something where I think he was. There it is. Brushes off the criticism by referring to his notes for the project, originally conceived as a feature film in 2008. Y'all, it is 2021. This junk was basically made in 2008. or at least the idea was proposed in 2008. It didn't get made till 2021. That is just a sign to anybody out there, including myself, to don't hold on to your ideas as if they're a part of you. They're literally something that you can create and put out into the world for everyone to enjoy. But don't lose sight of the things that could make you a millionaire, especially if you're passionate about it. I'm sure that he had plenty of other things past between 2008 and now that have, gotten him to this point. But that's besides the point. Like, would you wait over a decade to get a hit show on Netflix? Is basically my question. And I don't think some of y'all got it in you. But, you just got to wait it out. Also, if I see any of y'all dressed up as these people for Halloween, it's over for you. It is over for you. I'm going to ask you this question in person. But that's none of my business. What else do we got today? Shout out to Squid Game. Shout out to the director, Hwang Dong-hyuk. I didn't want to butcher your name, so that's why I had to look it on up. What else do we got today? This is an opportunity some of y'all may be missing out on. So there was a website in the UK that offers somebody $7,000 to watch all 706 episodes of The Simpsons. Now, they're probably going to require some cameras or something, but that's $9.09 per episode. Some of y'all need to get to it. The way y'all be binge watching shows, I know it could happen. And I know y'all could do it. Plus, I think The Simpsons is honestly funny. And it's been going on for 30 years. But you would require 35 hours a week. And you must be fluent in English. It came with stipulations. 33 seasons. Plus the spinoff movie. Spinoff movie is by far in my top 5 animated movies of all time. Just because it is, I didn't grow up watching The Simpsons, but it is probably one of the most hilarious movies I've ever seen. Shout out to The Simpsons. What else do we got for y'all today? We don't really have any other tech things other than, Bitcoin. Oh, there we go. We do have that. Sorry, this is just going to be mostly an investing podcast. I'd love for you all to further your research into acquisitions, just because big companies tend to buy out smaller companies because they see them as competition. It happened in the early 90s. Elon had a stake in eBay, and eBay ended up being bought by PayPal. Yeah. Sold the basic concept of eBay for, I think, somewhere around 2.2 million. Use that money to fund Tesla, or to start Tesla. So acquisitions is a super big thing, and a big one that just happened is PayPal is in the late stages of trying to acquire Pinterest. Now, hear me out and hear my thoughts on what's going to start happening. Pinterest is going to be, or it kind of already is, but it's more of a niche social media platform, because Instagram is where you post your pictures. Facebook is where you connect with your friends and family. Twitter is an open forum for God knows what. Snapchat is for sending pictures to your personal friends. Now I feel like Pinterest will be sort of the commonplace market, if you will. Facebook already is trying to corner a market by doing Facebook Marketplace, which is a great place to, meet people for whatever you need, literally. I've sold so much furniture and bought so many unnecessary things on Facebook Marketplace. But I personally believe that Pinterest will become a common marketplace where people can share boards and ideas. And then creators like myself or some of you all out there can sell your ideas on Pinterest. And it'll be a direct to consumer platform that you can use PayPal to purchase goods, services, arts and craft, whatever it is. I think that's where this is going, and I bought into it a couple days ago, and I've already made a 10% return on my money. So shout out to Pinterest, and shout out to y'all for making it to the end of the episode. Thank you all so much for tuning into another edition of the Wave of the World podcast. As usual, I've been your host, Jacob Bodega. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Go out and spread some positivity. Go invest in yourself and stay out of these Squid Games. Bye-bye.